You know, when Joe Biden shuffles in front of the cameras to answer scripted questions during the day, he lies like Don King. But what you don't know is, when he goes to sleep at night, he lies like an Egyptian king because he uses MyPillow Giza Dream Sheets. Grown only in a region between the Sahara Desert, the Mediterranean Sea, and the Nile River, its long staple cotton makes it ultra soft and breathable. Use the promo code LOGIC to maximize your savings on this amazing product.
You're listening to 99.3 FM, presented by St. Barnabas, in addition to 1230 WBVP Beaver Falls.
As far back as I could remember, I always knew everyone in our government was a gangster.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Thinking Logically. I'm your host, Joseph Anthony Corsai, and today, on Memorial Day, we honor the fallen. With us in studio on this Memorial Day is our producer, Ryan. Ryan, how are you?
I'm doing well. How you doing, man?
I'm doing very, very good. Beautiful weather out there.
Absolutely. Did you get out and see any family or anything today?
No, just a nice, relaxing day.
Okay.
Stressing over this episode all day.
I got you.
And holding down Allegheny County is our dear friend, Mr. Gordy. Mark, how are you?
I'm doing great, Joe and Ryan. We're here in mostly peaceful Allegheny County on this Memorial Day. Had a flyover earlier with a C-17 here with the Air Force Base nearby. So,
that's fantastic.
We remember the fallen today.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to start off today's episode by talking about Trump's trip to the Libertarian National Convention this weekend. So Trump walked into a completely hostile crowd, and he gave them the 2016 treatment. We're going to play an audio clip in a second, but you got to give this man credit for waltzing into another party's convention and giving an actual speech. Ryan, play the first audio of what he told the crowd.
That's not. Maybe you don't want to win. Keep getting your 3% every 4 years.
Now, they started off by booing him. Again, like I said, give this man credit for making a speech at another party's convention. He got booed to start. I think they actually, Mark, I'll let you get into this. I think they actually removed some Trump supporters from the front row before he gave a speech. But during his speech, he brought up Ross Ulbricht, who is currently serving 2 life terms for creating the dark net website Silk Road. Ryan, can you play the second audio when you get a chance?
And if you vote for me on day one, I will commute the sentence of Ross Ulbricht to a sentence of time served.
Now, if you hear cheering. This was a genius move by Donald Trump. They went from booing him to cheering for him. And notice how he waited until after they booed him to mention the campaign promise that he would free the founder of the Silk Road website, Ross Ulbricht. He could have announced that at any time, even the morning via True Social. I mean, that would have made him much more acceptable to everyone there at that convention. Instead, he waited, and we watched the crowd go from booing him to cheering for him, just like 2016 almost. Although the media won't show you the part where they cheer for him. Mark, what did you think of his trip here at the Libertarian National Convention?
Well, this was an interesting – I didn't even know this was happening until like the day of, and I'm thinking, oh, wow, Trump's going to talk to the Libertarians. I didn't realize it was their nominating convention, which I don't even know if we're going to get into who they even nominated, which was – I'm not sure why you would even vote for who they nominated if you're a Libertarian, but that's neither here nor there. He also pledged to appoint a Libertarian to his cabinet. That's big. If you're a Libertarian, you need to take this win. He's right. I love it. He went in there to a hornet's nest. They kicked the MAGA crowd out of the front couple rows. Apparently this was a very pro-RFK crowd as well. He goes in there. They boo him. He starts talking crap, and then he appeals to them all of a sudden. So this is some clandestine on Twitter. X. Come November, the majority of Libertarians will be voting Trump. The Libertarian Party just scared off the right-leaning staying Libertarians. Chase Oliver won't eclipse 1%. The other 2% will likely vote Trump. The biggest winner of the Libertarian Convention is Trump, and it's not even close. So Yeah, this was another stroke of genius, probably by the most skilled political animal we've ever seen in our lifetime, Joe, and that's Donald Trump. Russ Ulbricht actually sent out a tweet from prison that got 4 million impressions on X. I'm not sure how he does this from jail, but he tweeted out, "Last night, Donald Trump pledged to commute my sentence on day one if reelected. Thank you, thank you, thank you. After 11 years in prison, it's hard to express how I feel at this moment. It is thanks to your undying support that I may get a second chance." So, Joe, this was all good for Trump. You definitely got some positive, publicity here, and I think Clandestine's right. I think the majority of libertarians are going to vote for Trump. Why not?
All I will say is libertarians probably usually vote for the Republican nominee 90% or more anyway. But the news will use this as a way to spin this because what did Trump get? 1.2% of the vote on the first. He was eliminated on the first ballot to be the Libertarian nominee. Not that he ever would, but RFK technically did a little bit better than him, I guess you could say. But again, this is not the Republican National Convention. This is the Libertarian National Convention, and a Republican candidate for president showed up there, made a speech, and got cheered.
Well, do you think that RFK is going to cut into some of those libertarian votes?
No, not a significant portion. It doesn't matter who. Again, you only have to win 270 electoral votes to win this election. Okay, where is Joe Biden making up for this ground on all the minorities that are going to be voting for Trump more than they did in 2016 and 18? All the libertarians, all of the Democrats, you just pick any single voter block, and Trump is getting more than he did in 2016 and 20, and Joe Biden is less popular. This election, for all intents and purposes, if it was held today, could be like Reagan and Goldwater? Was it Goldwater, Reagan? I don't even know.
80. Yeah, Reagan in 80, I believe, or 84, one of those two. But before we go on to the next topic here, Joe, I have to mention this. This is on X, the leading report. This is as of an hour ago today. Former President Trump is polling better now than in 2016 and 2020, according to the latest Real Clear polling figures.
And he's polling like this after he has a record of 4 years.
Yeah, he's already been the president. Are we going to talk about the Bronx rally or no?
No, we're pressed for time. We're pressed for time. I would say I don't think 30,000 people showed up, but regardless, a lot of people showed up in the Bronx, and it totally nuked the mainstream media's narrative because there was people of all colors and races there. I wish I had some Joyanne Reed audio I could have played.
That's what I wanted to mention. It was a very diverse crowd: blacks, Latinos, whites. He was in the hood for all intents and purposes in the Bronx, and he showed up there, and the crowd loved him.
And he could have gave that speech anywhere in America, not just the Bronx. Anywhere in America, He could have gave that speech. You take that with what Joe Biden said at the college about, was it Morehouse University, about how black people were being kept down intentionally in this country. Two candidates, two different campaign strategies, I guess you could say.
Sure.
I don't know, man. Let's move on to the trials though, because none of this matters with these trials. If he's convicted and is in jail, what's all that matter? Even though he still can run from jail and be elected from jail, I guess. So the Jack Smith trial. Special counsel Jack Smith asked Judge Cannon to modify Trump's conditions of release. He asked, like the hush money trial, to be able to bar Trump from making statements that pose a significant danger to law enforcement agents. And then the Last Refuge on X put this out. FBI agents are Stasi-like operators. Remember the 50 agents who worked on the Trump-Russia construct for 4 years, and it was all a fraud? How about the 50 agents all jointly working on a frame and fraud case? Think about it. And Jack Smith wants to protect them from Trump pointing it out. And it's right, this could be just the Mueller stuff all over again. But I wanted to get to the hush money trial because we could get a verdict, Mark, as early as tomorrow. We really could. Very highly unlikely, but it could very well be this week. My money would be this week. So in the last few episodes,
for sure.
In the last few episodes, we exposed how Alvin Bragg is corrupt. We exposed how Judge Merchan is corrupt. Remember, his daughter is making money off this trial and more. Now we have this for you. Judge Merchan is giving the jury extremely specific instructions on how to find Trump guilty. So to find Trump guilty of felony-level falsification of a business document, the jury must unanimously find that Trump falsified the documents in order to commit or conceal a separate crime. Separate crime, that's the key here. But he told the jurors that they did not have to agree on what the separate crime actually is. So Trump's defense argued that in order to issue a felony-level conviction, all jurors must be required to agree on the predicate crime. One defense lawyer argued that, for Trump, that the jurors should have to agree on a single predicate offense. But prosecutor Matthew Colangelo, who again has ties to the DOJ and Biden, said that the law does not require that. Mershon, of course, agreed. I mean, are you surprised? And he said he won't oppose that requirement the defense requested. In other words, for everyone that doesn't understand this legal mumbo jumbo, if some jurors believe that Trump falsified business documents solely to cover up a tax crime, while other jurors believe that Trump falsified business documents to cover up an election crime, the jury can still convict Trump on felony-level falsifying documents charges, despite disagreeing on the predicate crime. It sounds crazy, doesn't it? Well, it gets crazier. Also announced, I guess Biden plans to address the Trump hush money verdict from the White House, the Oval Office, maybe even, who knows? It doesn't matter, I guess, if he's guilty or innocent. Biden's going to address the verdict no matter what. Mark, is this the campaign strategy for Joe Biden and the Democrats now?
Yes. And this goes back to what we've been saying all along. No, a vote for Joe Biden isn't actually a vote for Joe Biden. It's not because people like him. It's because it's a vote against Trump. So he's going to use this platform here, I guess you can call it. And Joe, what's the point? I mean, what's the point of getting this message out ahead of time? Is this to say, hey, jury, we're watching you? Or do they know what the verdict's going to be already? I was kind of confused as to why they leaked this out ahead of time. But, Joe, back to the verdict. We gave our predictions last week, and now after you stated what you just did here, I think I'm going to change my prediction from hung jury to guilty. Doesn't there have to be some sort of like throwing out intent as well to commit a crime? I don't think that's even being taken into consideration if they intended to commit a crime or not.
It's a bookkeeping error.
That's also part of the jury's instructions.
It's a bookkeeping error. They act like Donald Trump got up in the middle of the night one day, drove to his lawyer's office with a candlelight, and went up there and was changing documents around. That's not what he never even touched the papers that are in question, probably.
Yeah. Well, I mean, is this address? We still don't know if this is going to be a primetime address, if this is going to be an afternoon, what time of day this is going to happen. But I don't know, like, what. I mean, if he is found guilty, what's this going to do? I mean, is it going to change anyone's mind? We're going to see. I mean, obviously, if he is found guilty, they're going to have polling out immediately after this verdict, and we're going to see if this affects Trump at all. I don't think it will, maybe a little bit, but I really don't think it will at all. And then Donald Trump truthed on Truth Social, I think this was yesterday, there was no crime. Legal expense paid to a lawyer was marked by a bookkeeper using a drop-down menu in a computer program as legal expense paid to a lawyer. What else could you call it? There is no case, just a Democrat persecutor controlled by crooked Joe Biden's White House, a Democrat judge, and a biased venue. This is nothing but an election-interfering witch hunt, and the American people know it. So, I don't know. This is going to be interesting, but I definitely think we're going to see a verdict this week.
What I fear is they need to change a narrative here. And why not go back to the Trump supporters are crazy and these people are maniacs? Now, after this, let's say Trump's found guilty. He has to be found guilty for this. And Biden goes out and makes a speech about it to tell the people to calm down, whatever. Will there be another January 6th type of event? Maybe they fake events with Trump supporters and then Biden can use that as an excuse to do. It sounds crazy, but again, we need to know who left the pipe bomb during January 6th at the RNC-DNC area and how many feds were in the crowd. Because Trump supporters, when we're talking about Trump supporters, no one is going to go riot and burn down cities because of this verdict. We already knew it was a corrupt trial. We would have did that at the beginning. The only people lighting themselves on fire outside the courthouse were liberals. And self-immolation was a thing. If you remember, no idiot is going to overreact when they know it's getting overturned on appeal in a matter of weeks. I don't know what to say. Just burn this in the back of your brain. That's all. All right, we got about a minute. Yeah. We got to cover Biden and Iran before we move to the break. I have to read these two headlines. This is from John Hanson on X, and this is a headline from October versus a headline from May. So the headline from October is high-level Iranian spying busted in Washington. The trail that leads from Tehran to D.C. passes directly through the offices of Robert Malley and the International Crisis Group. That's October 1st of 2023. And then from, I think today, Biden administration presses allies not to confront Iran on nuclear program. The U.S. is arguing against an effort by Britain and France to censor Iran at the IAEA's member state board. And I just have to say before I hand it off to you, Mark, remember an Iranian spy ring reached the office of Joe Biden's Secretary of State, and the media the last week or two spent more time covering Judge Alito's flag that he hung on his camp.
Well, we said it last episode that there are Iranian spies within our government. I mean, we talked about the John Kerry thing last week, too, potentially hijacking the Iran nuclear deal. So this doesn't really surprise me at all. It just makes you wonder, what's going on. Who has infiltrated our government at the highest levels?
The fact that those two headlines can exist in this country and not be front page news and everyone pulling their hair out over it is amazing. Iran and nuclear weapons. I don't know. Anything else?
No, that's all. Good first segment. All
right. Okay. When we come back, Hunter Biden used a Sandy Hook memorial to arrange a meeting between his pop Joey baby and his Chinese business partner. That's according to emails. Will anyone ever be held accountable? Alex Jones will be joining us live when we return to discuss how, unlike the Sandy Hook shooting, this meeting really did happen. Stay tuned. You're listening to Thinking Logically on 99.3 WBVP. It's Joe again from Thinking Logically, here to tell you about one of my favorite clothing items, the MyPillow hoodie. Two things I love the most about this hoodie are how it fits and how it feels. This hoodie is extremely roomy, and its terry cloth material makes it lighter than any other hoodie I own. Use promo code LOGIC to maximize your savings. The MyPillow hoodie. Get yours today. Cash for your house. PGHbuyers.com. If you have an unwanted house but don't want the hassle of selling, visit PGHbuyers.com to see if PGHbuyers.com can help. No inspections and a fair cash offer. Visit PGHbuyers.com to sell that unwanted property for a fair price today. When Joe Biden shuffles in front of the cameras to answer scripted questions during the day, he lies like Don King. But what you don't know is, when he goes to sleep at night, he lies like an Egyptian king because he uses MyPillow Giza Dream Sheets. Grown only in a region between the Sahara Desert, the Mediterranean Sea, and the Nile River, its long staple cotton makes it ultra soft and breathable. Use the promo code LOGIC to maximize your savings on this amazing product.
Hey guys, it's Joe from Thinking Logically here to tell you about a company I've been using since I got my learner's permit. Grossi & Associates. Using their state-of-the-art equipment, Grossi & Associates offers collision repair for all makes and models, both foreign and domestic. There's a reason why they are voted Best of the Valley year in and year out. They are the collision experts. Grossi & Associates. Call today for a free estimate.
The views and opinions expressed on WBVP and WMBA are those of the participants and host. They are not necessarily the viewpoint of WBVP and WMBA, its staff, management, and advertisers. Thank you for listening to WBVP and WMBA.
Welcome back to Thinking Logically on 99.3 WBVP. Before the break, we were talking about the Trump trials and the Libertarian National Convention, although if you saw the dude they elected at the convention, you would have thought that it's the Liberal National Convention. Anyway, now we're going to talk about how Hunter Biden and his father used the bodies of dead children to make money off China. At least that's how the media would put it if it was someone besides a Democrat doing something like this. Okay, so Joe and Hunter Biden used a visit to Sandy Hook Memorial Service to set up a secret meeting with the Chinese over a $10 million a year deal. New emails have revealed. Okay. I don't even know where to start with this, but the stories we have about Joe Biden, Hunter, and the Biden family in general, they don't just stop here. Let's get all these out there, and then we'll go over it at the end, Mark. So, also happening yesterday, I believe, or late last week, Hunter Biden, Merrick Garland, they both attended a state dinner days before Hunter Biden faces court hearing on his gun trial. Now, a defendant hanging out at his dad's party with the prosecutor for his case that also works for his dad. Where are all the journalists at here? And then it gets better. It gets better from there somehow. So May 26th at around 8:20 at night, President Biden stopped by the home of Haley Biden, his late son, Beau, who you always hear him talking about. That's his son, Beau's widow. Haley is one of 12 witnesses that prosecutors expect to call in Hunter Biden's gun case coming up. I think it's next week. It's again, where are all the journalists? It seems like odd timing to me. I'd like to know when the last time Joe Biden visited or talked to Haley before this, because again, it's very odd timing. Granted, I believe Beau did die 9 years ago this week, but regardless, it's very strange timing with Hunter Biden's trial coming up. But again, it's nothing new. So let's take a look. This tweet is from who is this tweet from? For those keeping track, this tweet is from John Hassan again. May 15th, Biden fears Hunter will serve prison time over gun case. This is an actual article from the New York Post. May 23rd, Joe Biden and Hunter attended dinner with Merrick Garland, whose DOJ is prosecuting Hunter. And then last night, Joe Biden met with one of the 12 witnesses testifying against Hunter Biden. Mark, what's going on here?
Is this what they call KFOB, Joe? This is all. I mean, I told you earlier, Joe. Can you imagine if this was Trump? If Trump used Sandy Hook as a cover to meet with Don Jr. and Chinese or Russian businessmen? I mean, impeachment. I mean, that would be the least of his worries. They would try to hang him in the middle of Times Square. So the quote is, "Can you meet this evening early? My father will be in New York also, and he wants me to attend the Sandy Hook Memorial service with him, and I would like him to meet you along with my uncle, Jim Biden." Joe.
That is a damning and revealing text right there. Oh my!
When he testified earlier about this, he said he didn't know he was drunk, or he didn't know who he was texting, or they had no idea what he was talking about. Well, now these emails come out, these texts come out, and now it's pretty much the exact opposite. So, what is it, and why was he meeting with Haley Biden recently when she's about to testify?
Do you think he brought up Beau? I mean, keep in mind, for our listeners that don't know this, Hunter Biden dated Beau Biden, his wife, his late brother's wife. And I believe when he ditched a handgun, which he ditched it near a school, that she was in the car with him when he did that. So she's a witness to this. Again, yeah, it's just weird. Yeah. Joe Biden.
And then wasn't there something else about the sister or something like that?
I'm not sure.
Yeah,
this Biden family. So I mean, come on. What is going on with this? What is happening here? Where is the media? Where are the real journalists at in covering this story? I mean, they're covering it with a blanket until it runs out of air. They're not giving it any.
Well, this article from Just the News says the White House did not give an explanation for the president's visit, which took place at around 8 o'clock.
Joe Biden's never up past 8 o'clock. This makes it all the more weird. I don't even know what to say. I don't even know what to say. I can't wait to see how this Hunter gun trial, which he ditched a gun near a school, look it up. And if you remember, guns in schools and children are a big deal. It's a big topic. I want to see how the media covers this trial, which is going to start right after probably the Trump verdict. It's going to be very interesting. Anything else about this?
How much will the media cover this trial, Joe?
Zero. And unless there's some big revelations where Hunter Biden's able to like get off, or or like the Trump case, the prosecution had some gross negligence and errors and someone lies on the stand for 3 days straight, they're not going to cover it at all. They're going to try to hide it. They can't.
So they're going to give him the Ghislaine Maxwell treatment then.
Probably.
You think? Mm-hmm. We'll find out. It's going to happen soon.
All right, let's move on to the other presidential candidate. The last one we kind of didn't cover. So this is from, I'm going to laugh reading this. RFK Jr. may have, this is from Jennifer Bendery on X. New. RFK Jr. may have made up a wild story about being ambushed by indigenous people in a bow and arrow attack and retaliating by throwing a stick of dynamite at them. I don't even want to read the article in the story. I guess it goes back from the 80s, and they were in the Amazon, maybe, or running from an indigenous tribe. But it's crazy to me that all of a sudden they want to fact check stories about presidential candidates. This story's from 40 years ago. Where was this kind of hard-hitting journalism a few weeks ago when our current president, Joe Biden, said his uncle was eaten by cannibals during World War II? I mean, remember, Papua New Guinea had an issue a statement over that entire ordeal. This story was from 40 years ago. Why are we hearing about it now?
Well, Fauci Eats Boogers on X would agree with you.
Is that an actual account name?
Yes, Fauci Eats Boogers. This person tweeted, reminds me of someone else I know. You know, the guy who talks about cannibals.
It's true. Threw a stick of dynamite. Uncle Brosy. Oh.
RFK Jr. may have. Not he did. He may have. Hard hitting.
They'll let Joe Biden get away with everything. This is the perfect story. A candidate for president who's a third party candidate, literally a story from 40 years ago that he might not even have told that way. And they cover that more than the current president who said his uncle was eaten by cannibals during World War II. Absolutely amazing. All right. We got to keep it up with this the Gaza Pier story. So a U.S. service member had to be evacuated following a non-combat related injury he sustained while operating the humanitarian aid pier in central Gaza. It's I guess he's now reported to be in critical condition at a hospital in southern Israel. And then, Mark, they have pictures of this pier. I guess the pier itself didn't break apart, but some of the mooring vessels did. I guess, to put it simply, it's just a total $320 million floating disaster. Is as easy as I could put it.
None of the aid makes it into Gaza. The trucks get hijacked. They're not dealing with UNRWA because of UNRWA's suspected dealings with Hamas. And then what does Israel do? They go and bomb an UNRWA facility in Rafah over the last 24, 48 hours, something like that. This pier, $320 million, Joe. I know I've talked about this before in the show. I just cannot understand how something like this costs $320 million. This looks like something you'd see down at Rochester or Monaco, down on the Beaver River. It just blows my mind. So, but I mean, speaking of Gaza and Israel, I mean, how about the IDF bombing the Rafah UN no bomb zones? They bombed tents, and they killed, I think, 40 people in the last, overnight. So another tragic, as Netanyahu called it, an accident, over there. But
whoops!
I mean, how much more is this stuff gonna happen?
Sorry about your women and children. Whoops. It's not funny. I mean, but I'm not the one doing it, so don't get mad at me.
Well, they keep acting like it's an accident.
I just parts have broken free and washed up in Israel. All the aid that was delivered was stolen by Hamas. Keep in mind, we paid for this. The taxpayers paid for this.
American dollars.
Hard at work. All right. Before we move to our next break, we again another story that popped up. I saw it on Fox News. We had this story last Thursday and let it go. We had this story last Thursday, and we let it go, Mark. A U.S., I believe he was a colonel. Let me see. A U.S., we'll just call him a colonel. A U.S. colonel with the Special Forces discovered a trespasser with a telescopic camera on his property. After an altercation, the U.S. soldier was forced to kill the intruder, and it turned out the intruder was a Russian national of Chechen ethnicity, and he was illegally in the United States. Mark, why is this not a bigger story since we are currently in a proxy war with Russia?
I mean, this just goes to show you we have at least 13 million people in this country, undocumented migrants coming from all over the world. Chechnya, I guess, must be one of those places. You put a couple tweets in here from X and Wall Street Apes, America, buy guns and ammo. Army Special Ops soldier has home invaded by Chechen men, and they were taking pictures of his kids. There's 2 Chechen men who spoke broken English were found near the soldier's home. I don't know, in case you guys aren't aware, Chechen men, probably not someone you want to mess with.
Wasn't the guy in The Sopranos, that Paulie Walnuts and Christopher go after, wasn't he Chechen? They shoot him. I mean, we still don't know if that guy's dead or alive. Could be out in the Pine Barrens still.
Yep. What do you think is going to happen when tens of millions of illegal migrants get cut off from government aid after the election? Who have no way to support themselves and nowhere to go. This is what they'll be doing: home invasions and horrible crimes.
That's a good point. I mean,
you would think this would be a bigger story, Joe.
No, it's just a Fox News report on it briefly, but again, I feel like this should be like the number one. All these stories can be the number one story in America. But again, Judge Alito flew a flag outside of his house last week.
Weren't the Boston Marathon bombers Chechens?
I think they were. Not sure, but they weren't very tough looking.
Chechens in a box, but I think they were Chechen as well.
They didn't look very tough looking. All right. When we get back, though, we're going to talk movies. There's a Trump movie with a rape scene, a George Floyd movie where we'll just lay off that for a second, and a transgender woman. That's a man that thinks he's a woman. Well, they then decided to stab up a movie theater. We'll talk about it when we return here to Thinking Logically on 99.3 WBVP.
Hey guys, it's Joe from Thinking Logically here to tell you about a company I've been using since I got my learner's permit. Grossi & Associates. Using their state-of-the-art equipment, Grossi & Associates offers collision repair for all makes and models, both foreign and domestic. There's a reason why they are voted Best of the Valley year in and year out. They are the collision experts. Grossi & Associates. Call today for a free estimate.
Cash for your house. PGHbuyers.com. If you have an unwanted house but don't want the hassle of selling, visit PGHbuyers.com to see if PGHbuyers.com can help. No inspections and a fair cash offer. Visit PGHbuyers.com to sell that unwanted property for a fair price today. It's Joe again from Thinking Logically, here to tell you about one of my favorite clothing items, the MyPillow hoodie. 2 things I love the most about this hoodie are how it fits and how it feels. This hoodie is extremely roomy, and its terry cloth material makes it lighter than any other hoodie I own. Use promo code LOGIC to maximize your savings. The MyPillow hoodie. Get yours today. It's Joe Corsi here from Thinking Logically to tell you about Beaver County's #1 realtor, Mark Galla with RE/MAX Select Realty. With over 10 years experience, Mark knows all the ins and outs of the real estate business, so whether you're looking to rent, buy, sell, or swap your house, you can rely on Mark to take the hassle out. Mark Galla of RE/MAX Select Realty, going above and beyond.
The views and opinions expressed on WBVP and WMBA are those of the participants and host. They are not necessarily the viewpoint of WBVP and WMBA, its staff, management, and advertisers. Thank you for listening to WBVP and WMBA.
Welcome back to Thinking Logically on 99.3 WBVP, brought to you by Mitchell's Jewelers. Remember, it takes an enormous amount of pressure to make a diamond. So why should you put yourself under pressure when buying one? Don't. Go to Mitchell's Jewelers, where the choice is as clear as their diamonds. Mitchell's Jewelers, located at 2454 Mill Street in Aliquippa, PA. That's 2454 Mill Street in Aliquippa, PA. Okay, Mark, George Floyd is celebrating 4 years of sobriety this week. There's also a movie being made about him called Daddy Changed the World. I wonder if there will be a scene where he beats a pregnant woman, or one where he uses a printing press to make fake money to buy goods at a convenience store. Before we talk any more about this, I have to read you this tweet from N. Wogness on X. It's the Wikipedia pages of George Floyd and Lincoln Riley. George Floyd, murdered by a white police officer. Lincoln Riley, killed by blunt force trauma. Okay, I realize Lincoln Riley's murderer hasn't been convicted yet, but come on, blunt force trauma? And again, when you compare that with the other Wikipedia page, mentions nothing about fentanyl or any drug addiction or anything like that. Amazing. Mark?
Yeah, George Floyd had a criminal rap sheet that was quite lengthy, Joe. A friend of mine sent me something on X, and then he followed it up with, George Floyd is the patron saint of pregnant mothers. We saw President Biden issue a statement regarding the death of George Floyd, the anniversary, but we didn't get anything from him regarding Lincoln Riley.
He couldn't even get her name right.
Actually he did. At the State of the Union, he called her Lincoln Riley. That's neither here nor there, but you get the point.
Well, George Floyd is either here nor there, I guess. I just, stuff like that irks me. And I guess anyone can go on and edit a Wikipedia page, I guess. But blunt force trauma? Are you kidding me? Like, is the border not an issue at all? Is like illegal immigration and people coming here? We just did the story about an illegal immigrant videotaping a special forces guy's house. Again, wrap up the border, because we're not even worried about the illegals from Mexico anymore. That is so 2016. We're worried about other people coming over, Chinese nationalists, Chechens, for God's sake.
Iranians.
Yeah. Although those get along very well with Biden, according to previous stories that we covered. But
what's the latest with the Haitians coming here? And what's the latest with the Gaza refugees coming here, Joe? Do we have any update on that?
On the Gaza refugees? Now, I totally forgot all about that. And the Haitians. The Haitians are probably already here, at least enough of them. I don't know if it's the cannibal Haitians or not. But I don't know about the Palestinians from Gaza. And I don't even know, honestly, if they would really want to come here. Wouldn't you want to stay in your own country and live there and have it fixed? Instead, we're giving Israel weapons and aid to bomb their homeland and then just bringing them over here to vote for Joe Biden. Yeah. I guess it's a genius strategy.
Well, speaking of Haiti, did you see that I think it was a Republican state senator from Missouri, his daughter and her boyfriend were actually killed in Haiti. They were down there on a humanitarian aid mission.
Oh, I did see that, actually. On the phone, I think.
And they were ambushed coming out of a church at like 8 or 9 o'clock. I'm not sure what part of Haiti this was in, but apparently a couple trucks of Haitians, we'll call them, I don't know, pulled up and just shot them, killed them.
And these were Americans.
These are Americans. So if you're thinking about going to Haiti on a mission trip or anything like that, don't go. Go somewhere else.
Again, Biden administration doing nothing. Someone else did. Someone else would, though. We'll get to him at the end of the segment. Let's move on to the Trump movie. So Trump is actually suing now, I guess, the makers of the film The Apprentice. He reportedly sent a cease and desist letter to the creators of The Apprentice movie after they depicted him violently raping Ivana Trump. Trump's attorneys are demanding that the filmmakers not seek a distribution deal in the U.S. If you do not immediately cease and desist all distribution and marketing of this farce, we will be forced to pursue all appropriate legal remedies. You have until May 27, 2024 to respond with your agreement to immediately comply with this demand. The filmmakers have defended the film, calling it fair and balanced, and I believe it's an Iranian-Danish filmmaker that's the director of this. He, quote, isn't worried about Donald Trump's threat to sue him over the latest movie, The Apprentice, and I guess he wants to have a one-on-one conversation with him. I don't know, but that's the latest with that news.
Get it out of the film.
I agree. I mean, the George Floyd film, where there'll be there's police documentation, him beating a pregnant woman. Will there be anything with that? Will there be anything with him creating fake $20 bills? No, probably not. And that's like a big thing in the case, because that's the whole reason the cops were called.
Well, in the Joe Biden film, they have him taking showers with his daughter.
It's a good point. You can go on and on about these. It's in the journal.
Right.
No.
We didn't say it. That was in her diary.
We just report the news, man. We just report the news. All right, let's move on to this AMC stabbing attack. So apparently a man, it gets confusing with me. I know Pride Month's coming up. But a man went on a stabbing spree inside an AMC theater in Massachusetts. He's identified as transgender and was linked to a police investigation for a death in Connecticut. Jared Christian Raviza, who identifies as a woman using she pronouns, stabbed multiple young girls aged 9 to 17 at the AMC Braintree Cinema in Plymouth, Massachusetts. 4 young girls were stabbed and hospitalized with non-life-threatening injuries in the unprovoked attack. The suspect then fled in a car before committing another stabbing attack, attacking a 21-year-old woman and a 29-year-old man at the McDonald's. The suspect then sped off, leading to a massive police chase before the vehicle crashed and he was hospitalized. The suspect was already part of an investigation into a death in Deep River, Connecticut. Mark, this individual, who is a male, dresses up like a woman, stabbed 4 girls. Again, 4 women. Women are supposed to be protected. Women and children in this one. This is going to be a tough one for the media. Keep in mind, a gun wasn't used. So the ban gun narrative is out the window for this one. Media can't use it. They can't blame knives. What agenda would that work to move forward? Knives, are you kidding me? And they can't blame mental illness because they'd admit that people who are transgender might just be mentally ill. Mark, how is the media going to report on this? Are they? And we got Pride Month coming up in like a week here, man. Are we going to see more of this?
Yeah, I'm not sure, Joe. I heard a little bit of this, but it seems like the news cycle moves so fast that these kind of just get pushed off to the side as soon as they're talked about, and that's it. But yeah, I mean, this is becoming a pattern. That's all I'll say, and I'll leave it at that. This is becoming a pattern now.
It is, and becoming a pattern. We never get to see those manifestos, but other manifestos are released like that. Speaking of a pattern, we have a pattern in one of our senators who, I don't know what is with this guy, America First Fetterman. John Fetterman, Mark, was able to, I think he flew down to Turks and Caicos, was able to go down there.
Apparently.
And he got Brian, I think his name is Hegerick, to come home. He's a married father of 2 from Pennsylvania, and he was arrested in Turks and Caicos for accidentally having spare bullets left in his suitcase after a hunting trip. It was an honest mistake, and yet he faced more than a decade of in prison. Senator John Fetterman went down there and got him out of jail and back home with his family already. Mark, we need a movie about Fetterman today. I can't believe the 180 I'm doing on this guy. I'm not completely sold on him yet until we get into like the August, September of election season. We'll see how he acts then. But wow, we got to give credit where credit's due here.
We do. We do have to give credit where credit is due. And this guy is on some sort of hero arc that, I mean, he has blown both of our minds. And we saw a video of him walking through the halls of the Capitol, completely trolling a female reporter who was trying to get some quotes out of him, and he was actually filming her as he was walking and then giving her snide comments back, which was kind of funny actually. But yeah, he goes down to Turks and Caicos and gets this guy who was detained for having spare bullets in his suitcase, which is kind of crazy to begin with, that they would actually arrest him. But who knows what their laws are like. But yeah, I mean, where's Bob Casey? He's the senior senator from Pennsylvania. Where's Joe Biden? We have Americans detained abroad. We should be doing everything we can to bring them home. And John Fetterman did that. So I just can't believe this guy. It's just unbelievable.
You said his hero arc. He's like Jamie Lannister if Jamie Lannister had Hodor's brain and body, I guess.
He's like Jamie Lannister.
with Hodor's brain and body.
Yes, that is a great comparison. Hold the door. Hold the door. He was yelling, hold the door in that debate with Dr. Oz. And now he's out there with one hand winning these sword battles in different countries. Amazing.
I have to say, I'm kind of happy Fetterman beat Oz, because Oz just kind of just disappeared. And I don't know if he went back to Turkey, where he is, but he never tried to do anything. If he really wanted to get into politics, there was plenty of opportunities he could have had the last year or two. Instead, he just folded on election night. Say what you want about John Fetterman. He came back a changed man from that trip to Walter Reed.
I'm going to say this. In our power rankings of Democratic senators, John Fetterman has to be number one.
He's number one, without a doubt. Number one. All right. We got to take a break. But when we return, North Korea fired a missile at Japan today. But if you're on a Coney Island beach, you don't have a care in the world. Because according to New York City Mayor Eric Adams, Coney Island is the French Riviera of the United States. And he's being dead serious when he says that. We'll talk about it when we come back to Thinking Logically on 99.3 WBVP.
Hey guys, it's Joe from Thinking Logically here to tell you about a company I've been using since I got my learner's permit. Grossi & Associates. Using their state-of-the-art equipment, Grossi & Associates offers collision repair for all makes and models, both foreign and domestic. There's a reason why they are voted Best of the Valley year in and year out. They are the collision experts. Grossi & Associates. Call today for a free estimate.
You're listening to Beaver County Radio, coming to you live from the Fry Transportation Studios. Beaver County Radio and Fry Transportation, a winning team. 99.3 FM and 1230 WBVP, providing news, sports, and information for 76 years.
Do you like sports? Then tune in every Wednesday from 5 to 6 p.m. for One Man's Opinion on Sports with Brian Pasquale. Brian is loaded with statistics and interesting sports viewpoints. The show can also be seen on the WBVP-WNBA Facebook page. Plus, Brian will be taking your calls as well. That's One Man's Opinion on Sports with Brian Pasquale. Every Wednesday from 5 to 6 p.m. on Beaver County Radio.
The warm weather is back, and that can only mean one thing. Pirates baseball for a 76th season is on Beaver County Radio. Make sure you set your radio dial to WBVP and 99.3 FM. Pirate baseball is being presented locally by the St. Barnabas Health System, Freedom United Federal Credit Union, Falcones Moon Township Ford, Keystone Wellness Program, Friendly Federal Credit Union, Dr. C. Timothy Lip, the Beaver Falls Municipal Authority, Patriot Home Care, Town Square Restaurant, and Beaver County Radio.
The views and opinions expressed on WBVP and WNBA are those of the participants and host. They are not necessarily the viewpoint of WBVP and WNBA, its staff, management, and advertisers. Thank you for listening to WBVP and WNBA.
Welcome back to Thinking Logically on 99.3 WBVP. I got a great and awesome opinion and view for you. It's from New York City Mayor Eric Adams. He said, "Fun in the sun is just a subway ride of death away." He didn't exactly say that. Let's say exactly what he said on X. "Surf's up. New York City's beaches are our French Riviera, and they're officially open for everyone to enjoy. Grab your towels and sunscreen because the summer vacation of your dreams is just the subway ride away." Mark, you know I get anxiety going to and from the beach, number one. But having to go on a subway with flip-flops, holding a towel and all my beach attire, my skin is crawling just thinking about that. I've never been to a New York City beach. Have you?
No, I actually had to look it up. I actually had to follow the link on that tweet there from Mayor Adams about where these beaches are at. The one interests me, though, the Far Rockaways. I think there was a Rockaway reference in Goodfellas. I could have sworn, but this is an amazing comparison. New York City's beaches are our French Riviera. And he's trying to recruit illegal migrants to be lifeguards.
Oh, I forgot about that.
This guy. The hits just keep coming with Mayor Eric Adams. This clown.
I forgot about the illegal. That's a good one. That is a really good one. All right, we got to actually fly through this segment because we got to cover the Israel, Egypt, and all the war stuff going on from today and this weekend. So let's move on to our favorite guy, I guess, our favorite scientist besides Fauci, Peter Daszak. This is from Hans Malkel on X. Daszak is now complaining about not being allowed to respond when in truth he's been responding since December 31st, 2019, which was the day of his long thread purporting to explain why COVID wasn't, quote, natural. Very peculiar how he knew that before anyone else even heard of COVID. And Peter Daszak says, "Thanks for speaking, Dr. Hodes. I want to remind everyone that we have not yet been given a chance to respond to these allegations. We will contest every one of them with substantial evidence, both to the HHS and publicly." We're waiting. we're waiting. Like the Caddyshack line. Well, we're waiting. I'm so sick of COVID but I just want answers. And these emails come out. It's a very simple thing. Drag them in front of Congress, ask them questions. The last time they did it to Fauci, it was proven now he lied under oath. Let's do it again. Let's get the ball rolling on this. Please. We have so much going on, but let's have another COVID.
Yeah. It seems like Daszak, Fauci, and Collins are in the center of this whole thing, and they just keep coming back to these three guys.
Who was the scarf lady?
Debbie Burks, Hashmina.
Is she in that? These people are all probably involved in this. Again, no accountability. You saw the guy. Why can't we be like Turks and Caicos and actually enforce our laws? Can't have bullets at the airport? Get arrested, okay? Really? You can't do gain of function on viruses in the United States or sublet it out to China and you do that and get caught? Throw them in jail. At least bring them in for questioning, though. Please. They can't refuse the subpoena. They'll go to jail anyway. All right, we were talking about 2020. Let's go back to 2016, Mark, and Hillary Clinton. Former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton reflected on her 2016 presidential campaign, saying that female voters deserted her in the campaign's last days because she was, quote, not perfect. Mark, how do you go from blaming Russia to blaming women, especially when it's another campaign election cycle here? Why is she doing this?
I didn't even see this until you included this on our script today. This is from The Hill 2 days ago. Popsicle Willie responds on X. Why is she still talking? Small Governor Lizard. So it isn't the Russians anymore. What is she talking about? She had women. That was like her base. No one deserted her. If they did desert her, it was a long time before the final days of the campaign. Maybe when she opened her mouth for the first time and declared her candidacy, because she is one of the most disliked people in American history.
Well, why would they desert her in the last days? Could it be because James Comey had to reopen an investigation into, I think it was Anthony Weiner's laptop that classified documents from Hillary Clinton were found on? Could it be because she got basically owned in them debates? When she came out and talked about how Trump doesn't want to pay taxes, and he responded with, well, that's because you sit up here and you talk about how you're going to do this stuff with the tax every year. You'll never do it because the people that donate to you love these laws. He totally flipped the script on her, and he did it over and over and over again for 3 straight debates. Could that be the reason why people, quote, deserted her? Because she got exposed?
God, those debates were so amazing.
Oh, man, they were. We need to go back to that. And we might be this June.
I hope he doesn't give in. What's that?
I said we are in a few weeks with Joe Biden. Unless Trump's in jail, there's no reason these debates won't happen. Maybe that's the excuse Biden's looking for. Well,
Biden wants them to sit down at one of the debates.
That is funny. Why even bring that up? Why even bring that up? Oh, I want to sit down during the entire. Lay down and please recline back. Make yourself comfortable, Joe. Take a nap even.
Sit down in a studio with no one there.
Have a nurse next to you with an IV or a PICC line in you. Who cares? Media won't cover it at all.
A PICC line with that fresh Colombian A1 Perico.
All right, we got this all stuff that happened today. Let's move on to Israel and Egypt. Hold on, let me find this article that I have for here.
Yeah, apparently this was a mishap again from the IDF and the Egyptians.
IDF got a lot of mishaps going. Was it an Egyptian was it 1 or 2 Egyptian soldiers that were killed? I'm hearing conflicts that it was 1, it was 2.
Yeah, from what I've read today, who knows? But the Egyptians fired on the Israeli Defense Forces first, not knowing they were IDF. Then IDF returned fire and killed at least 1 Egyptian.
Who did Egypt think it was?
I don't know, but we'll see if DC responds.
All right, we're going to keep an eye on that because, again, that's the Middle East. We're going to move to Southeast, though, I guess, Asia. China surrounded Taiwan or did some kind of drill where they had military vessels all around Taiwan, I believe, over the weekend. And this came out today. from Globe Eye News, and according to the Telegraph also, China is preparing a large military force to invade Taiwan, according to the Telegraph. And they could say this could happen in 2024 or 2025. Before it used to be 2027, 2028. But what's going to happen if they do invade Taiwan? Is Biden going to call up his allies in the Middle East and try to convince them to cripple China's energy with sanctions? Trust me when I tell you all those calls will probably go directly to voicemail since the U.S. did nothing. They didn't lift a finger to help those countries against Iran, Hamas, or any of the proxies over there. Mark, should we be worried about China and Taiwan yet, or is this like a thing in the next year or two?
Well, what is Xi Jinping waiting for? I mean, if you're going to do it now, right? I mean, it seems like something might be happening there. I mean, they had the whole island surrounded. And their foreign minister made some threats talking about blood and whatnot. So,
bloodbath?
Yeah, it feels like something's on the verge of happening. But, I mean, again, who knows? Who knows if they're going to do anything at all? This is just saber rattling, by the Chinese. But, the official U.S. policy is that Taiwan is part of China. So,
I have to know, are they waiting for the Trump trial verdict to decide if they want to invade or not? Are they waiting? If Trump's going to be the president and that's clear, strike while the iron's hot while Biden's in office. If it appears maybe Trump's going to be in jail and not be president or something like that, maybe China and Xi Jinping thinks, hey, we got another year or two or three with Biden at the helm. I don't know. I can only speculate.
Yeah, that's all we could do.
All right, let's move on. The last topic, a satellite state, I guess, of China. Breaking. This is from the Gateway Pundit. North Korea launches ballistic missile towards Japan. Residents of Okinawa told to hide in shelters. This is via the Gateway Pundit. Again, another story. Anytime 4 years ago North Korea would try some kind of saber rattling, the media would be all over it. I didn't see this reporting anywhere. And I'm hearing now it's several ballistic missiles at Japan. The country's on high alert. And this is from the Iran Observer, his opinion. The U.S. wants Japan to go to war against China if Xi Jinping invades Taiwan. Maybe that could have... I don't know. There's an awful lot of saber rattling going on. And
the USA wants Japan to go to war against China. Oh my gosh. I don't think Japan's in any place to go to war with China, but I mean, I feel bad for the Japanese. I mean, this is like a recurring theme now. I mean, they keep having to take shelter when Kim Jong-un keeps firing these ballistic missiles over Japan. But did you see, Joe, today's missile actually exploded in midair, so I'm sure whoever was responsible for that's probably getting 10 years of hard labor in one of the North Korean prison camps.
North Korea, this situation worries me because if you're going to start off a world war, it was the First World War. Who shot the Archduke? It was a Serbian. I think it was a Serbian.
Bosnian from the Black Hand, Gavrila Princip.
Okay, and that was kind of like a country that was almost like, I guess you could say, a satellite state of Russia. Russia was their like protector, I think, the protector of the Serbs back then. If you're going to start a world war, wouldn't you want North Korea to do it and not China and not like, I mean, you would pick a country like North Korea or I guess a terrorist group like Hamas or whatever. It wouldn't be China. It wouldn't be Russia. It probably wouldn't even be Iran. I think that's where it would start. So that makes me always a little bit nervous when you see North Korea as the one firing ballistic missiles.
Well, I think they're just doing it just to say, hey, look at us, look what we could do. But, this came out, I think, in the last week. I forget who said this, but it was it the president of South Korea's new book that he just debuted? He said something about, Kim Jong-un was serious that he would give up his nuclear program if the United States can guarantee the survival of his regime. And he was serious. And I don't, obviously those talks didn't go anywhere, but that's what he was willing to do. So
you always see the CIA in these other countries. I wonder if the CIA is in North Korea and if they really control some of the stuff that goes on over there. We got like 2 minutes left. Might as well spitball some crazy things that could be true.
North Korea, North Korea, that would be tough.
It would be, but possible. All right. That's about all we have for today. We got about a minute and 30 seconds. We got anything else you want to say, Mark?
No, Joe. We had a lot of pushback on the Harrison Butker, quotes over the last couple of weeks. And we just had this drop on X about 15 minutes ago from Candace Owens, responding to Jason Kelsey. Your wife is, in fact, homemaker. You just don't like the label because you've been brainwashed by radical feminists like the one your brother is dating to believe it's a dirty word that implies inequality. It doesn't. Men and women are different. Those differences work together to form a happy family. The Bible has the answers, not pop stars and their journalists. Hope this helps. Joe, great show. Thank you to Ryan, our sponsors. And we will see you guys on Thursday. I'm going to try to be in the studio Thursday. So.
We'll be excited. All right.
So, great show.
All right, remember, guys, Trump verdict possible this week. Remember what not to do if he's found guilty. Just stay in your home. There's no reason to go out and even protest. Protest on social media. It'll be overturned on appeal. That's what they want you to do. That's what they're expecting. Thank you very much. It's been Thinking Logically. I'm Joe Corsai. We'll see you on Thursday.
You're listening to 99.3.